Hey guys! Today's video is about bees, one of the most organized and probably the hardest working insects in the world. Even though they have honey, their life is not so sweet. After all, they spend 90% of their time working since childhood. From cleaning, ventilating the hive, building the honeycomb, to traveling 2 and sometimes 4 kilometers in search of nectar. And all this for the liquid gold of bees, honey. After all, sweets are fast carbohydrates and instant energy that bees so desperately need. And today we're going to find out if bees are willing to eat anything sweet, or if they'll choose to eat what's natural. And we're going to start our experiment with syrups, which we will make based on fructose, artificial sweetener, and regular refined sugar. We take a small container, put in a sugar cube, and pour in water. The syrup should be as rich as possible, so do not spare the sugar and add more. The second syrup is prepared on the basis of a sugar substitute. Who does not know it is used by people with diabetes or those who are on a diet? 1 tablet of sweetener is similar to 1 teaspoon of sugar. You can imagine how sweet the syrup was for our girls. Another syrup is based on fructose. This is the same sugar, but it is made from fruit instead of beets and is considered a less harmful analog. And the fourth syrup is honey-based. Everything is ready. Put the syrups in front of the hive and start observing. About 20 minutes passed, and not a single bee found the sweet. Now they have a lot of work to do in the field during the flowering, and they certainly do not have time for our experiment. So we move the containers of syrup to the arrival board. Now the bees have started to eat. Let me remind you that the arrangement from left to right is sweet liquids based on sugar, sugar substitutes, fructose, and honey. The bees started with honey syrup. By the way, pay attention to what bees have long proboscis. It is with them that they collect nectar from flowers, which is then carried to the hive. Its length can be about 10 millimeters. The second place of interest was syrup based on common sugar. And very rarely bees touched fructose syrup, which surprised us a bit. We thought it was a more ecological product and the bees would prefer it. But just half an hour of observation showed that honey syrup is not in competition, and the bees drank it quite quickly. But the sugar substitute was not liked at all. They did not even try it. It is not clear by what criteria the bees ignored the syrup, whether by sense of smell or some other method we do not know. In any case, it's worth thinking about. We have already said that honey is the bee's gold, and now we can add, not all that glitters is gold, not all that is sweet is liked by the bees. For the next experiment, we will need 3 containers. We will give the bees a choice of honey that we took from them last year. We also bought honey from the store, a variety of herbs. By the way, a little spilled homemade honey and already appeared taster. And the first thing to note is that the store product is more liquid. That is why they poured more on the stump, which will make the ants very happy. The third product is homemade alcoholic mead. During the previous experiment, a bee jam formed on the arrival board. Therefore, this time we will remove the top of the hive and place the sweet containers right here. Arrange everything in the same order as we filled it. On the left is homemade honey. For bees, it is own production. On the right is commercial honey, and in the middle is mead. And first, they decided to taste honey, which from the point of view of bees can be called an imported product. That's the choice. Even the bees are victims of marketing. Or is it a conscious choice, and this honey is better than their own? A few minutes later, the first bees appeared on the homemade product, but there were even fewer of them. But nobody was interested in the mead. Although it is made on the basis of water, honey, yeast, and a little propolis, and has a strength of 8 degrees, it's still an alcoholic product. After another 5 minutes, homemade honey became the most popular. The information spread quickly among the bees, and there was no free space around the homemade honey. The conclusion is that bees do not care what kind of honey they have, especially if it is free. But if they have a choice, they will choose their own honey over commercial honey. This is not really surprising and just needed to be proven. For the next experiment, we prepared beer, Pepsi, cow's milk, and condensed milk. We filled 3 of them with honey and the 4th with condensed milk. Where there's honey, we pour in the milk, beer, and Pepsi one by one. Stir until the honey is dissolved. We put each container in front of the bees in this order: beer, Pepsi, milk, condensed milk. And the first product the bees were interested in was a beer-based honey drink. What? They didn't want to drink mead, they wanted beer. Although they started the process of tasting, so the bees are already tasting Pepsi. They also tasted milk. And in the attempt to eat condensed milk, one bee was caught. I had to free it. Now the sisters will clean her up and she'll be good as new. And now let's take a look at the time lapse. Who knew beer was so popular with bees? It literally took them about 20 minutes to drink it all. This particular beverage will be the reason for the party in the hive. In addition to the clear favorite, the bees were also interested in milk with honey, and in third place was Pepsi Cola. Condensed milk was a less interesting product, most likely due to the lack of honey in this syrup. The result with beer was truly amazing and highly unpredictable. Who knows, maybe the bees will carry more honey after such a treat. Now it's time to choose the ultimate champion. Pour 3 equal drops of honey into 3 containers and make syrups based on the beer that won the last experiment. Water, which was the winner of the very first experiment, and just honey. Who will be the best of the best in the bee selection? All right, let's put all the containers in their places. Beer on the left, honey on the right, honey and water syrup in the middle. After a few seconds, the bees have already made their choice. Pure honey is definitely better than any syrup, even if it's made with hoppy beer or neutral water. The honey drop was literally surrounded on all sides. As we said, honey is bee gold. It remains to be seen who will get the silver. We watched the time lapse several times trying to figure out where there were more bees on the beer or on the water. And we can safely say that we didn't get it right. Even both syrups ran out at the same time. And now let's summarize the whole video. First, the bees tell us that homemade honey is better than store-bought honey. Second, sugar substitute is a load of crap. 3, beer is better than mead. Bye-bye.